Hi, I'm Chris and welcome to my channel Synergistic Singing. So today I want to talk about secret singing rules. And these are little unconscious rules that we have picked up and not realized it, that have actually limited our freedom as singers. So for today, I'm just going to talk about a case story of someone I'll call Bob, who had an unconscious rule about his singing that was actually limiting his freedom in his singing. So working with Bob, he would sing through phrases and then not breathe in between each one of his phrases. And so what would happen, of course, is if you never breathe in over the course of a song, you're gonna run out of air. So one of the things that I like to do to help me figure out how that person is breathing is for them to make some audible inhales in between their phrases. And there's a lot of helpful things that an audible inhale can do. And one of which is that I know for certain that he is inhaling if I'm hearing an audible, I have no question. And especially if I'm watching and I see that, your ribs are expanding and everything's, puffing up, then you're definitely breathing in. Versus a silent inhale is a little mysterious. So if you go, that's very subtle. And so sometimes singers can't really tell that they inhaled when they're, in a fast song and the inhale's really quick. They can't really tell whether they inhaled in that little split second or if they just totally skipped the inhale. Ultimately, you don't want to necessarily breathe in audibly. But when you're practicing a song and you're trying to get the hang of the breathing, it can be a really helpful tool. Once Bob started breathing in between his phrases, of course, it made a lot of his singing a lot easier. And so what was so interesting though, is he realized, my family used to watch singers and would point out every time that a singer would audibly breathe in. And they would just say, I could hear him breathing in, And so what he didn't realize was that became the subconscious rule in his singing of, I can't breathe in audibly. And so as a result, he would just not breathe at all between phrases. And this is such an obvious thing, right? You need to breathe in between your phrases. And yet, this whole really easy tool to use of just breathing in audibly between your phrases so you know that you're breathing in so you can kind of get the hang of it was just totally unavailable because of this subconscious role that was carried with singing. So my goal as a voice teacher is not to give you a bunch of rules about singing. It's actually to help you discover any of those unconscious roles that you might be carrying, any of these unconscious demands that you might be carrying about singing or about your voice that are actually limiting your freedom as a singer and maybe the very thing that's in the way of you singing better. And so once you find those things, then the more you grow as a singer, you start to realize that your goal as a singer is not to have a whole bunch of rules of the right way to sing. The real goal is to create as much freedom and power in your singing as you can, as many options as possible. Can you imagine if I was a painter and I was teaching painting lessons and someone walked in and I told them, you may only use the color gray. Gray is the right color to use. That would be crazy, right? You wouldn't continue with that. And yet what we do with ourselves is oftentimes we're looking for this one perfect or this one right sound, or we're trying to sound good and make sure it fits into that box, that it actually restricts us physically because we feel closed in, like we're not allowed to make different kinds of sounds or breathe in audibly so we have oxygen. And so as a result, it kind of limits our progress. So what I'd really encourage you to do is when you're looking at singing techniques or you're experimenting with your voice or you're listening back to recordings of yourself, what you're trying to do, or what I would encourage you to try to do, is to not create any rules for your singing, but instead think of them as tools and options. Yes, audible inhales are typically not something that we necessarily want in a song, but if that's the key to you breathing in and getting in the habit of breathing in through your phrases, then do it. Then absolutely do that. And then you can always come back around and say, okay, now can I do these inhales silently and sense really clearly that I am taking in some air between each one of my phrases. I hope this video encourages you to see if you can find any of these little subconscious rules that you might be applying to your voice that are limiting you as a singer. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. And for voice lessons, either online or my Austin, Texas studio, go to synergisticsinging.com/schedule a lesson. Thanks for watching.